direct call on the general manager of the company. Let's see what signals you can pick up during the critical first 10 seconds of the call.
Susan Taylor from Beacon Printing.
Okay, Susan, have a seat.
Great, thank you.
Come on in.
Hi, I'm Susan Taylor.
Have a seat. It's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Let's review the scene and see what signals you've picked up. Mr. Lakewood is preoccupied. How would you get his attention? In this situation, it may have been better for Susan to walk a few steps, then stop, smile politely, and wait for the customer to get up and greet her. Do you smile when you meet a new customer? Remember, we want to send green signals from the beginning. When a customer looks you over like Mr. Lakewood, how should you respond? In this situation, you want to show confidence and avoid getting forced into power games. How? Take charge of the situation and state your business purpose. Self-touching gestures are signs of defensiveness, showing the customer that he is in control. Yellow signals won't help your sale. A palms-down handshake is yet another power signal, indicating that the customer has a need to be in control. If you can, always select a chair with an unobstructed view of the customer. Here is our third exercise. The customer has been very friendly and receptive throughout the call, but then you give him the price.
So with a 3-year warranty and a service contract, we're talking about an investment of $8,700.
$8,700? Where's the savings?
By assuming this posture, what nonverbal signal is he communicating? His face is friendly, but puzzled. He is leaning toward the salesperson. His legs are crossed toward the salesperson. His body language expresses green signals, even though his verbal expression contradicts them.
Oh, I need to lower net price.
What would be your verbal and nonverbal response? Maintain your open posture and strong eye contact. What would you say to him?
If you buy 2, I can give you a lower price.
I don't need to, I just need 1 at a lower price.
I can save you $850 by taking away the service contract.
Look, I'm gonna need that service contract.
Have you ever bought something that met your need for low price, but failed to live up to your quality expectations?
Yeah, why?
I think we're in a similar situation here. You told me that your previous model had many breakdowns that cost you money and aggravation. I assume you want to avoid these problems in the future.
Of course I do.
If you sign this here, you're getting the best quality product at the best price, backed by our guarantee.
Still $8,700.
The buyer's body language signaled green. There was no reason for last-minute price concessions. Remember, don't wait for a verbal invitation to close the sale. Just ask for the order at the earliest opportunity. Here's our fourth scenario.
The old...
You're in the middle of your presentation when your busy customer is interrupted by an important phone call.
Okay. Yeah, speaking. Hey!
What nonverbal signals is he communicating? His eyes are averted, and his tone of voice indicates tension and frustration. All yellow signals.
I'm not Look, I got somebody with me right now.
How would you handle the interruption and the possible change in attitudes? Remain neutral and relax.
Hey, listen.
Think of a way to reconnect by refocusing on the business at hand. When he hangs up, re-establish eye contact.
Look, I don't want any excuse. Look, I have...
After an interruption, you want to create involvement with specific questions to draw your buyer's attention back to the business discussion.
Now, would you like to see your company looking like that?
But the long-term...
What makes selling such an exciting profession is that every call is different. Even when you know customers very well, they can surprise you with new attitudes that you may not have noticed before. That's why we need to remain vigilant and listen with our eyes and ears wide open. Approach every call as if it were your first. Test the waters with open questions before launching into your presentation. Scan the buyer's body. Keep your own body relaxed and communicate green signals. If you notice yellow signals, shift your focus from talking to listening. Ask open questions. Give the buyer a chance to express the hidden obstacle to your communication. If you show your customers that you really care about them, that you're able to serve their needs and solve their problems, you'll get more green signals than you ever thought possible.
Now, by the time
Now you're about to see how a role-play exercise called the practice call can increase your sales success. In the practice call, the buyer's situation is fictitious, but the behavior is realistic.
And if by the end of the day,
It's like a link trainer for airline pilots. Pilots can test their skills in a safe environment where the responses are real and a mistake will never hurt anybody.
as a matter of fact, mistakes are a very good thing in the practice call. You don't want to maybe be trying out a new sales technique on a real customer because you'll stand the chance of losing the sale. Here, there's no risk. Okay. So, who wants to be the seller?
All right, I'll do it.
Okay, Tony, here you go. Tony, this is your case. And the buyer?
I'll do the buyer.
Beautiful. Okay, Michael, and that leaves you, Susan, to be the observer. So, I'm going to give you a few minutes to prepare, and then we'll get started.
Great.
Won't be hard on me.
No promise, Lieutenant.
As the seller, Tony is going to call on a prospect. His objective is to open the call, present his product, explain customer benefits, and use a trial close. Michael will be playing the part of a typical prospect. His time is limited and he's busy. His goal in this call is not to volunteer any information unless the salesperson asks a specific question. As an observer, Susan will be observing, recording, and evaluating the seller's performance. She'll take notes to record the flow of the conversation and keep track of the nonverbal signals of both the seller and buyer. Also, she'll write down what she would do if she were in the seller's situation, so she can offer suggestions to the seller. As the viewer, we encourage you to assume the role of the observer. Please take notes and write down what was good and why. Also state what you would improve and how.
So, you ready to observe?
Absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Mackey, Tony Thompson,
Hi, how you doing?
thank you for taking the time to see me.
You only got a few minutes. So.
Okay, I'll be quick. I was wondering, do you have any cigars, Dominican, in the range under $2?
No.
Okay, terrific.
Oh.
And here they are.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a curly head. Arturo Fuentes makes it. You're familiar with Arturo Fuentes?
Of course, yes.
He makes his cigars, and it retails for about $1.35. And it's a unique cigar in the sense that it is made from novice rollers, and they're made from the cuttings of the leaves, which they use to make their fine cigars.
Yeah.
So the taste is really good. It might not burn as evenly. So Arturo Fuentes basically sells itself, and when you got a $1.35 cigar, which tastes just like his premium cigars because it's the same fillers, the same leaves,
Yeah.
then you should have no trouble selling those. You play golf?
It smells very nice. Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
it's a good golf cigar.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
it'll stay lit through the wind, anything. So, this one here, are you familiar with Padron?
Yes, of course.
This is a Nicaraguan cigar.
Uh-huh.
It's a Honduran filler with a Cameroon wrapper.
That's very good.
Yes, it's a full-bodied cigar.
Yeah.
And that sells in the $6 range. Those would be for the people who like to smoke more intense cigars. Does your clientele buy mostly high-end cigars, or?
Well, we have a range, mixture. You know, middle class to upper middle class people.
So they're usually looking for what, $8 cigars, or?
Just the full range, really. We need more of these. Some people come in, they want to try cigars out, you know, and by location and so forth. So that, you know, we really do. I think I'll probably take 50 of these.
All right, you want a bundle of those? Terrific.
Yeah.
I would leave these with you if you'd like to smoke them.
I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll take a bunch of these.
Okay. Get your bunch.
And with the Padron, let me smoke it.
All right,
Let me
good.
taste it, and I'll let you know sometime tomorrow. Would that be?
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
All right, if I may suggest, smoke it after dinner, cup of coffee, a little espresso. Goes very well.
Very
Especially
good.
if you have spicy food, that'll hold up to it real nice.
Well, then I know where I'm going for dinner.
All right.
Okay.
All right, I'm out of here.
Yes.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
That was great. I can tell you were really invested.
During the evaluation of the practice call, the seller gets a chance to reflect on the experience. Next, the buyer shares his comments, and then the observer will evaluate the performance and offer suggestions for improvement.
Hear what you thought was good and why.
Okay. Let's see. First, I'll talk about the verbal things you did that I thought were good. There was actually a lot of things. You guys did really well. So, first thing is, I like that you verbally acknowledged the time constraint that the client had, but yet you remained confident. I think that's good because it kind of puts the customer at ease. I think a lot of salespeople can just sort of smooth over that and ignore it, but you were like, okay, I won't take up much of your time. So I thought that was good. I liked how you pointed out that he had a place in his stock for your product in that price range. I thought that was a very effective sales technique, and it sort of establishes the need for the client. As far as nonverbal, you did a lot of things there as well. I noticed that you kept your palms up and out, and I think that's great. It shows it's kind of an open, non-threatening gesture that I think the client responded well to. You also nodded your head a lot when he was talking, which shows that, once again, you're listening, you're receptive to the client. And finally, I liked how you mirrored the client's smile and laughter, that you really established rapport, I think, with all your nonverbal and verbal things combined.
Okay, that's terrific. Now let's move on to what can be improved and
Okay.
how.
Like I said, they did really well, so there wasn't a whole lot, but I did pick out a couple of things. As far as verbal, I do feel like you let the client off a little too easily with the padrones. I think you had a great thing going. I thought you were a little too conservative there. I think you should have at least made an attempt on the client. He was giving you a good response. He did get a little bit more relaxed. I think you should have, once you had the sales momentum going, an add-on would have been a little bit easier. Perhaps you should have suggested that he try maybe 50 of the padrones. Just try 50. And, if they don't sell well, if you don't like them, you don't have to order them ever again. But I think you need the product, but all you really did is just let him try one. I think you could have sold him. He was in a pretty good mood. But as far as nonverbal, the only thing that I noticed that you needed improvement on was sometimes you looked a little to the left and down when you were talking to the client, and sometimes that can be interpreted as a little bit shady. You did say a few things like, these taste, the $1.50 or something cigar tasted just like the premium. That's a little hard to believe. And when you were saying things that you didn't quite believe, you looked to the left or you looked down. Other than that, though, I thought overall it was really fantastic. And I really had to reach to find things to improve.
She's pretty thorough.
That was an excellent example of what was good.
Well,
Why? Okay, well, it's time to trade places.
Oh, good. I don't know if I can.
Now that you've seen how a typical practice call exercise is conducted, you can apply this learning tool to your situation. Your goal should be to train for increased sales. Here are your learning objectives. Test new skills. Remember, it's better to experiment in the classroom than to role play with real customers. Review how others see you. We rarely get a chance to see ourselves as other people see us. Adapt positive body language. Learn to automatically assume an open and relaxed body posture. Increase your motivation to change. Once you apply the power of nonverbal communication, you'll always have an edge. Narrow the gap between thinking and doing. How? Through ongoing practice.
All right. What about if you're a banker and I'm selling you?
We encourage you to participate in these practice call exercises.
Company looking like that.
Allow yourself to experiment and make mistakes. Mistakes show that you're not afraid of learning. The only mistake you can make is not to learn and grow.
A black belt one day?
3 years. Nonverbal communication is the biggest part of acting, actually. One of the things that I do in the class that I teach, the acting class that I teach, is that we'll take a look at the opening scene of The Godfather. And then we just go over the lines, and of course, really when you pay attention to the scene, The Godfather sounds actually a bit wimpy, but he wins, and he wins big time in that scene. So we watch it again with the volume down. And you can see that he's spending the whole time threatening the Undertaker with his body. It's all nonverbal.
Sometimes when I practice a script, I'll actually look in the mirror to see if I'm doing the proper gestures. You know, sometimes if you're nervous, you can come off, you know, like you might start fiddling with something. And even though you're saying the right script, if you're fiddling and I'm supposed to be confident, you know, it's a total contradiction. So I think you have to make sure that you don't just have the verbal script down, that you're doing the proper nonverbal gestures as well.
Positive nonverbal communication could be done through a smile or open hands or your body being relaxed and comfortable with the person that you're dealing with, whether it's in a scene or in any other situation.
How about the scene where Gerhard gave you the cigar?
Oh yeah, well he's a great salesman anyhow. he's great at that, and it was just good because with what he does there, just presenting the cigar, well, you had to participate, you had to smell it, you had to become part of what he was doing, and I think that was a great sales technique.
A lot of times when I go on a job, on the way there, I don't turn on the radio, I don't listen to music. I actually sit there and kind of think about the client, think about what they're looking for, and try to become that.
Nonverbal communication in acting is very important because you're actually listening to what the body is saying to you without words. So it's very important.
What is being communicated, really communicated, and what you are feeling from the scene often has nothing to do with what the script says. And so you teach the actor to always follow the subtext, which is the nonverbal part, because that's really the truest form of communication.